Hi Leo, we're going to do a self-love tarot reading. These are general readings, so if they don't resonate with you this week, I'm going to do them weekly. So if you come back next week, you might find something that's more your speed. I want to get used to doing these tarot spreads, so I really am giving away free readings if you want a self-love reading. My email address is in the box below. Again, these are self-love readings, so they're really intended for the person watching. They might not be conducive to cross-watchers. I shuffled a little bit before we started, but I'll go ahead and shuffle again. I think it's like this. I do a 6-card spread, and then the 7th card will be the message from Spirit. And to clarify, I use the Shamanic Healing Oracle cards. No, I was just looking at this. Yeah, just want to make sure they stay all in the same direction. So let's get started. The first card I always pull out is going to be how you're feeling right now. The second card is something you might need to prioritize. The third card is an area where we might know, either consciously or subconsciously, that we're letting ourselves down, and we need to pick up the energy or the pace to help ourselves out. The fourth card is the way that you can show your more authentic self to the world around you. The 5th card is something that you need to let go of. The 6th card is something you should acknowledge on your spiritual journey. And the 7th card is going to be what Spirit has to say to you, okay? So let's see Leo. Oh, I don't usually read reverses, and I just spent all of my time making sure these didn't come out in reverse. So I'm gonna keep this the way that it is. And it says, Leo, right now you feel maybe you're kind of stuck. You have the Fool in reverse. Maybe you lack excitement. Maybe you're afraid to start something new. Maybe you feel like you haven't planned enough. Okay, we'll see more about that as we go. Dang, this something you need to prioritize, Leo. Science. The 6 of Swords. I know. Well, I don't really think of this art card as the same way we see in the traditional deck. What I really get from this is not the science so much, but it's this idea that because the swords represent movement, right? And ideas. Well, we have all of these ideas pointing towards the same thing. And so what I'm thinking are all these swords pointing towards the same idea. It just really is more about research, doing the work, looking into things. My older sister's a Leo, and she researches everything. So if you're anything like her, I'm sure that you were constantly talking to Alexa or pulling up your Google. So right now you might feel like you don't have access to a new start, or you're not on your way to starting something new, but Spirit is saying that you should take some time to do some research. For what? What are you doing? Oh. So maybe you don't feel that way, and your research needs to be into the High Priestess. The High Priestess is the guardian of the spiritual world and your intuition. She represents your ability to connect to your emotions. She's also someone who doesn't really talk very much. She's a lot more interested in actions. So maybe right now this sense of like new self that you have or that you want but aren't there for has something to do with your intuition. Let's see. I spent all this time. And none of the other ones did. Okay, so I'm going to keep this one too, but I came out in the reverse. In an area that you can show yourself more authenticity, like let out how you feel about things, is this 4 of Wands. Oh, sword. Wand, sorry. But it came out in the reverse. It talks about completion. And here's that wheel, right? And there are these 2 people holding this wheel together, but they're done with their work. They don't have to worry anymore. And this came out in the reverse. So maybe you're sitting around acting like everything is fine, everything is perfect, I'm past that. I'm over it. Like, I don't need it anymore. But really, it's bothering you. And so what Spirit is saying is to be more authentic, you should show that something's bothering you. We have, in Western society, this idea that emotions are problematic. And that's not true. If you've ever seen the movie Inside Out, all emotions have jobs, right? It's okay to be happy. We like happiness. People like when you laugh, right? You're letting out mirth, literally the bubbling up of joy. It has to come out. When you're sad, I mean, most people don't like that, but they'll put up with it. Like tears, we let that out to like alleviate our body of the sadness. And then anger is kind of tolerated in certain situations. Men are encouraged to be more angry than they are to be sad or happy, which is weird because violence, but whatever. And if you're unhappy about something, you can let that out too. You don't have to cry about it. But if something is aching inside of you, Leo, don't just walk around like you're fine, okay? If there's something that's bothering you, go ahead and let it out. Maybe you have a Pisces in your life and they really appreciate that. I just wanted to know. I just want to make sure you're okay. I just love you, man, okay? Something you need to let go of. Is it me? Am I doing this? No, I just did this. Something you need to let go of is this sense of the Four of Swords. Traditionally, this is a forced rest. In this pile, it says truce. Maybe you think, Leo, that you won't move forward, right? Because here's that Fool. But I'd like to tell you, from one person to another, especially if you're here reading or like listening to tarot readings and stuff, nothing ever stays the same. This wheel of completion, the reason we use the wheel is because the wheel symbolizes infinity. I know the infinity symbol, and I know the infinity symbol symbolizes infinity. But the problem, or the thing about the wheel is that there's no end to it, right? We use the Wheel of Fortune. We use circles to kind of give this explanation that things always go back around, right? Like, even if you look at the universe, or not the universe, but if you look at the Earth, it's round and it spins, but the spinning of that round object gives us the seasons. That's my point. Sorry, things don't ever change the same. That's good, but it's also bad, but it's also duality. Because like if something's good right now, it won't always be good, so don't get your hopes up. But if it's bad right now, it won't be sad because it won't always be bad. It's excellent. It's good. So Leo, get rid of this idea that things are not going to move forward, that you yourself are not going to move forward. Because Spirit says they want you to acknowledge... Yeah, okay. This is kind of what I'm talking about. They want you to acknowledge this Five of Swords. They want you to acknowledge this defeat. There's something that's bothering you, and you have to acknowledge it. This could just be like a self-love spread about like being more honest with your feelings, but I think what this is really about is getting, not even being honest about your feelings, getting in touch with those feelings. People give Pisces crap for being like the most emotional sign, but Leo has a lot of emotions too. You can't be a fire sign and not have passionate energy. Like you can't. Also, Leo is represented by the sun, the most passionate, the most fiery, the most energetic. So it's not like you can't have emotions. You need to get in touch with them because maybe what's really happening here is that you are sad and that research that you have to do isn't on the computer. It's not in a book. It's literally inside of yourself. One of the most important things that I learned from therapy, well, also that like very little things are actually my fault and they stem from how other people feel about themselves. Besides that, was like body monitoring or something like that. When I get anxious, it used to be that it got out of control. I would get anxious, I would get anxiety, and then I'd have a panic attack. Super cool. It wasn't. But what my therapist taught me to do was to body analysis. Analyzing? Yeah, body analysis. You sit in your little therapy chair. You can sit on a couch. You can do whatever you want. We do it in bed. And you're starting to have a feeling. Where is that feeling coming from? My anxiety? always comes from my tummy, like my lower tummy, not up here or anything like that, my lower tummy, and it starts to like cramp, and then I know, okay, I don't feel good about whatever's going on. And literally, it could be nothing. I could be sitting on my couch doing nothing, and my tummy would cramp up, and I'd be like, okay, well, I don't like what this is. But now I know that when the tummy cramps, I have, we can talk about this too if you want, Leo. I have all these things that I know to do for myself to bring myself down. But if I don't notice those feelings immediately, maybe I ate a bunch and I'm just like, nah, I'm full, my throat will start to tell me. When I start to get really anxious before my anxiety attack starts, I feel like I'm gonna throw up. But not in my stomach because I'm sick. I mean, my stomach is cramping, but up in my throat because I just feel so tense, right? So Leo, maybe this tarot spread is, and I think, because I'm the one doing it, but I think this really is talking about how like you need to come into contact with more of your emotions. You have them. Don't just hide them. Don't just let out the ones you think are positive. Okay, because this sense of defeat, it's really crushing. It really is, because look, you're not the lady with the sword. You're not. You're this dude who has been beaten, pinned to the earth, and she is leaving. She is walking away. She has bruised your pride. She's bruised your ego. She's bruised your body. She ain't coming back for you. If something's bothering you, figure out what it is, where it's coming from, and how it's manifesting physically. Okay? Because if you don't, what ends up happening is you feel shitty all the time, have no idea why you're feeling shitty, and then you take that out on other people. It's not fair to bleed on those who didn't cut you. So if there is something that you're sad about, deal with it. Come into contact with it. Where does it hurt? Does it hurt in your chest? Sometimes I get sad about things because I'm Pisces. Can't help it. And my chest will ache. It's not the same as my anxiety, and I know that because of my analysis, but it aches sometimes. Feels like I got something stuck in the wrong tube, you know? If that's how it feels, well, let it feel like that, Leo. Don't feel like you have to be the sun for everyone all the time. You don't have to. I mean, you can see my sunlight is changing the whole time I've been sitting here and I haven't really moved, but let it out. Whatever's wrong, it's okay. Things will get better. Yeah, Spirit's really telling me here, Leo, and I don't even think I need to clarify, but I will because we're only at 12 minutes, but Spirit is telling me that there are parts of yourself that you have not acknowledged, okay? Because we have this Four of Cups here. There's this part of her that she hasn't looked at. I mean, it could be a message, but I don't really feel like that with this spread. I feel like this is a part of you that you haven't acknowledged. And the reason I feel like that is because if you look at her reflection in the water, it's not complete. Okay? You can't even see that cup above her. You see the 3 cups that she's holding, but not the one above her. Self-love is about integration. It's about changing the daily habits that we have that allow us to let ourselves down. And by not acknowledging the way that we're feeling, we are not allowing ourselves to be authentic. Maybe we think in our heads, oh, you know, when we grew up, our parents didn't really want to know how we were feeling. So we just keep those things to ourselves now. But we are no longer children, and we hopefully do not live with our parents, and we can be who we want to be, Leo. When you acknowledge aspects of yourself, when you like look at them and think about them and accept them, you accept yourself, and you're going to be so much more happy. Because think about, okay, let's say your house, right? You come into your house and you hate the color of the walls in your house, and you're like, ew, I hate it. And it kind of stresses you out. Like, not a lot to the point where you don't want to go home, but enough where like every time you're home, you're just like, you're in a bad mood now because you don't like the color. Maybe you painted it like red. It's like a Leo came home and was like, I want my walls to be red. And then they painted their walls red because you're all impulsive. And now you're like, fucking hate it. Why did I do this? Right? Think about that, but like as if you were your house, right? You come home every day to yourself and you don't like aspects about yourself. It's fucked up. Nobody should live like that. So what I'm encouraging you here, and what Spirit is encouraging you here to do, is to get into contact with those feelings. Figure out where they're coming from. What makes you feel this sense of defeat? what makes you feel like you can't start anew, right? Whatever it is, Leo, it's your business. But if you don't get in touch with those feelings and figure out where they're coming from, you're not learning about yourself, right? You're not putting in that research. Okay? Because the more you come in contact with yourself, the more you will be able to notice physiological triggers. So we talked about how like my tummy gets upset and my throat hurts, right? These physiological triggers will help you understand your intuition better because they are your intuition, right? We have a parasympathetic nervous system that happens in our guts. And it's your gut instinct, your gut intuition. Learning to notice those feelings and then responding to them when they come up is basically what intuition is. You know, you got that red paint to paint your house and you were like, I'm not really sure about it, but we'll slap it up. That was your body saying, am I going to like this when I come home to it every day? Whatever is happening to you, Leo, you don't like it. So let's deal with it. Okay, I can help if you want. Just email me. Let's see. Okay, so we said for this Fool, you were in this energy. Wow. Okay, wow. That doesn't, okay. You're in this energy where you feel like things can't start, or maybe you're afraid to move. But Spirit is saying you need to move forward because you're moving into balance. Knowing yourself, knowing what you want, knowing how you feel about getting things, you know, knowing yourself will help you live a more balanced life for yourself. Because you don't want to live for other people, Leo. You want to live for yourself, but you also want to live, and you don't want to just cut yourself off from your emotions. I don't know if you can read that. Wait, where did it go? Do you see it? Do you see what it says? Yeah? Do you see what it says? Do you see it? It's a self-love, Leo. If you're with your partner, Leos are super passionate. They're very giving. They're very caring. My sister does not like to cuddle. Whatever. I don't know if that's all of you, but it's fine. I don't need it. I do. Well, Pisces. But anyway, if you're with your partner and your partner is telling you, hey, you know, like, I don't feel good. And you're like, why? What's wrong? And they're like, I don't know. You'd be like, well, does your head hurt? No, I don't know. Well, is it your stomach? No, I don't know. But you don't feel good. No, I don't know. Wouldn't you want to know? This is the same thing, Leo. Like, give yourself some credit, okay? Give yourself some love, some self-love, and get in contact with, like, how you feel. Forgiveness. Something bad happened. It could be your fault. It could be somebody else's fault. But forgiveness is incredibly important because it allows us to give the situation space to emotionally move away from it. Not just physically, but emotionally. So if there's a situation that happened, if it's your fault, it's okay. We all make mistakes, you know? You don't have to, like, let that burrow into your brain. Let it go. If it's someone else's fault, well, you don't have to deal with those people anymore. You don't. You can just cut them off. I know Leos. I know Leos. I know y'all. Maybe. I have a sister who's Leo. It's close, right? Just cut them off. Because there's a new day coming. And look, that's you right there. That's the sun. You're so cute. Look at you. Okay, there's a new day coming. Actually, this is like the 1, 2, 3, 4, fourth sun I've seen. Because the self-love is flying near that sun. This movement into balance, it's got a sun. Forgiveness, it's got a sun. The forgiveness card is a sun because it's all about duality, right? So it's not just forgiving what's on the outside, it's also forgiving what's on the inside. Getting in contact with your high priestess, your spiritual intuition, your guide, your gut instinct, your feelings. Reunion of souls. But there's no one else in these cards. Something happened that is a part of you. So maybe what's really happening is you have some of these Horcruxes returning, right? I don't know if you ever watched Harry Potter, and that's totally fine because I'll tell you the bad guy. What he does is because he knows he's bad and people are going to want to kill him, he takes his soul and he, like, puts it inside of stuff. Like living things, fake things, and he has like 7 of them. Okay. And then Harry Potter comes along and he kills like 3 of them. And then one of his friends kills one. And then another friend kills one. And then there's one left. Well, there's 2 left. And one of them is actually Harry Potter, but that was an accident. So Voldemort kills Harry Potter. And there's only 1 left. And they kill that too. Parts of your soul coming back to you. Maybe growing up, you really were told that like how you felt was not important. Don't cry. Do you want me to give you something to cry about? You know, parents have this way of dismissing us. And we can bring that with us forever and learn to dismiss ourselves. Don't dismiss yourself, Leo. Don't do that. Don't do that. Reunite with all those aspects of yourself that maybe you have put on the back burner or forgot about. I know this happens a lot with moms especially, and I'm not sure about dads because I never really talked to a dad about it, but moms especially tend to do this thing where they're a human being, but they focus so much heavily on other people that they forget themselves are human beings. You know, that happens all the time. So come back to yourself, mom. You know, come back. Focus on who you are, not what you do for other people or whatever this bad thing that happened was. I told you it's that duality, okay? This is about perception. Somewhere in here we have this perception of like the way you're supposed to be. But that's not always true. And maybe some of this research you're looking into right now, it could be esoteric in nature. Hello, hi, how are you? Or it could just be, you know, going to therapy. It could just be looking things up online, like how to come into more contact with your emotions. Be more emotionally available. I love emotionally available people. I am not one of them, but I like them. Okay, retreat. So, it doesn't mean to acknowledge the sense of completion. Something has come to an end for you, and that might require you to retreat a little bit. This little birdie, he made his nest under the ground to stay away from the storms and the snow. I really love hermit energy in general because it's really about like removing yourself from society, like these expectations of what other people think that you should be like. Taking yourself away from that, being by yourself with yourself, and then learning about yourself. The High Priestess and the Hierophant are usually like a pair, but I always think of the Hierophant as somebody who kind of like tells you what to do. He has like precedent over your daily habits or like your belief about what your daily habits should be. And I always find that the Hermit is probably closer, for me anyway, to the High Priestess, because the Hermit isn't about doing anything. The Hermit is about being something, being in your feels, being in your thoughts, being in yourself, just like with yourself, right? I saw this documentary when I was really young, and I'm so sorry about this, but Leo might like it. So this guy like tattooed himself to look like a cheetah. He lives in England, and he literally left everything that he'd ever owned and moved into a cave, like a cave he found. Not even a cave that like he made, like he found a cave, and then like every once in a while, like every month or so, he'll like put on some clothes because he doesn't usually wear any, and then he'll like row his little boat back into town and get supplies. Like that's what I think of when I think of a hermit. This person doesn't care about society or what society has to say. This person is going to do whatever they want. Must be nice. Sacred space, okay? Leo, whatever this is, you need to retreat into some kind of sacred space. If you're hurt, take time to deal with that hurt. Otherwise, what we do is we internalize it and it kind of turns into tree bark. We just push it out of ourselves and we have this armor around us that we might not even know is there. Taking that time to get in contact with your higher self, your High Priestess, is going to help you figure out where those hurts are and how you can soften the wound or the scab, right? That makes sense. Okay, well, all these are upside. Okay, so we said something you need to let go of was this idea of a truce, or this idea that like you're forced to stay where you are because you can start over. I guess right now what the universe is telling you is that this feeling of not being able to move forward is because you need to get into this healing energy. Heal yourself, come into contact with what it is that you want, what it is that you need, how you feel, and then from there you can move forward. That's a very healthy, positive message. Come into contact with yourself. How do you feel? How things work for you? And then you can move forward. Take this time to retreat, and then that Fool won't come out in the reverse. Teaching. You're learning something right now. The universe is teaching you. Maybe before, like I said, your parents didn't really prioritize your needs or even you saying what you needed. And so now you're just very used to being like, I'm okay, everything's fine. Everything's fine. But it's not, because inside you're obviously hurting because you have this sense of defeat and this belief that you cannot start over again. Okay, so this sense of defeat is real, but I think that because of this defeat is really what's gonna trigger you to deal with all this once you've acknowledged it. It's not good, the sense of defeat. It's good that you're acknowledging these things. And there we have that wheel again. Okay, things are going to change. But only if you let go. I don't think this is letting go of the situation. I think this is really letting go of your perception of how you are allowed to express whatever's going on with you. Okay? So we said that Spirit is telling you this, that you have to integrate all of these aspects of yourself. Remember, because the Four of Cups. So let's see. Ascension. I told you. You're going to move forward. You're going to move forward, not even just in life, but on your spiritual journey. New beginnings. I wonder sometimes. So they say that, like, with the zodiac signs, like Pisces at the end of the cycle, because we've gone through all of the lives before us. So maybe in this lifetime, Leo, because you are the energy that gives, because you're the sun that gives the world energy. Maybe this cycle is really about you learning to acknowledge your own energy. Maybe this cycle is really you learning to embrace yourself and provide life for yourself, right? Okay, so overall, what I have in this spread is that right now, you're at this time where you feel like you cannot move forward, or maybe there's something in your way, or maybe you feel like you've suffered a loss. But Spirit wants you to know that this feeling that you have is real. It has a purpose. It is valid. You need to feel it. Get in contact with your other feelings too, your intuition and your emotions, and then you will be able to move forward. You will be able to move forward once you've figured out your feelings, becoming in more contact with yourself. Okay? Because Spirit says this integration is what's holding you back. Okay? Go ahead and grab that fourth cup, bring it down, and then watch how the rest of you is illuminated in this water. Well, I hope that helps, Leo. Okay? Have a good day.